Today I want to show you something that we built for events businesses on Salesforce. This is about demonstrating how versatile Salesforce is as a platform and how you can effectively run your entire events operation on it. So most people know Salesforce as Sales Cloud. It's a CRM and it manages your contacts, opportunities, basically your pipeline. But what really distinguishes Salesforce from some of the other market CRMs is the extent to which you can configure it to match your business and not the other way around. The challenge is that sometimes configuring Salesforce properly can be expensive. So you're either hiring expensive consultants and developers, or you're sort of trying to figure it out as you go. And that's where accelerators come in. So we're Salesforce consulting partners and we work across different industries, but one industry that we've worked quite closely with over the last few years is events, and we've learned quite a bit from that, and that's what spurred us to build the Event Venue Accelerator. So what this does is get you to about 80% of a perfect solution. So it covers a lot of the requirements out of the box. So instead of starting from scratch as Salesforce as standard and then building the functionality on top, we're helping to accelerate you to a point where you've got a perfect solution for your business. And we're taking some of the heavy lifting away. So let me show you what this looks like in practice, and hopefully you'll see quite quickly how this can really help you manage events. What does the Event Venue Accelerator do? It helps you to capture and convert, so that's managing the lead process, quote and contract, so that's managing the quoting process, and deliver, so event delivery. This part is really very custom, so we haven't attempted to deliver a perfect solution because this is kind of where everything differs for every event business, but it hopefully gets you to a point where you can focus on just those bits that need to change. So inquiry capture. It captures leads through email, phone, web. There are also options to pass emails. So if you have partners that are sending leads to you, sites like Hitched, etc., and those leads come through as emails, they will always come through in a same format because they are passed through from a system. So we can pass those emails and we can create leads directly from them. Some more modern systems will have APIs that can push leads to your system. So either way, we can consume that and we can create leads directly in the system, which saves you from having to copy and paste and manually create leads, which is a huge advantage. So this is the lead list view. You've got an awful lot of configurability here. As a user, you can have as many list views as you need. You can change what appears here. You can create your own personal list views if you wish to. And on the lead, you'll see there are some fields that relate specifically to events. You'll see the lead process, most fairly standard. Most customers don't need to change that. You'll see information around activities. Salesforce, as standard, integrates with Dynamics 365 and with Google Workspace. So if you're with either of those for emails will sync to and from Salesforce. You can also track events, those come from your calendar. You can track tasks. And you can log call activities. So all of those events, emails, there is an email in this org, but events, emails, tasks, everything will be down here in your activities section. So the next thing is availability checks. So when when a customer inquires, they'll quite often have a particular date in mind or a set of dates, and you might need to check and make sure that that you have availability. You might also want to tentatively hold a date whilst a booking's being made. For that, We have custom calendars inside Salesforce. You can see the different events that we've got going on here in this org and the statuses of those events, whether they're tentative or not. I can click into it and see that event. You can view in different ways and also check for room availability. I can look in a sort of a resource view across different venues. So you've got lots of control over the booking process and sort of creating tentative booking. You can come in here and create tentative bookings very easily. So that means that you can avoid double booking. You can see all of the options in one view and have confidence around making offers of particular spaces. When a lead converts, it converts into an account, a contact, and an opportunity. In our model, we support person accounts and corporate accounts, and also household accounts, where you might have, for example, two individuals. A wedding might be an example of that, and you need to sort of associate them together, or you might just have one individual or an individual and an account that they're associated with in a corporate context. But either way, it will generate an opportunity. So on this opportunity, we've got slightly different stages, but I just want to show you how we kind of manage an opportunity typically. So we've got details that have been carried over from the lead, so they'll get mapped across things like the event date, any other relevant information, but we're going to be building it out as well with details of guest numbers, etc., and whether they've gone to had a tour, etc., etc. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is managing products. Product selection inside typical Salesforce is kind of more lends itself to a B2B scenario where it's individual products. So what we've done here is essentially build bundles. So you can select a bundle and it will have a certain number of required products, and then it will have recommended products. So I can pick those products as I go and basically build an event package. And that will then update the opportunity amount. I can come back to those products at any time and edit quantities and discount levels and stuff like that, and then save them. So that's product selection. And why bundle? Because instead of adding products one by one, you might have an entire package. So you might have packages where there are particular types of catering, etc. And the optional products are there to help your guys upsell with options. Then quite often what we have are complexities around payment plans. So I've got a contracted amount and an amount outstanding. I can set up to say I'm going to pay a deposit, either an amount or a percentage. And I can mark that deposit as paid if I want to. So actually, let's go ahead and do that. Let's assume that they've paid today. So that gives me a remaining balance of 1,500, which can be spread over monthly, quarterly, however I want to do it, essentially. And I'm going to generate that schedule. I've got some options to shift the dates if I want to. I can look at the record. I can delete and then reschedule. So it will tell me that I need to rebalance the schedule, so I can do that, and that will change the payment plans and the amounts. I can also run individual payments, so milestone payments tied to a certain number of days prior to the event. And if you want to configure a payment plan template, if the payments always follow a certain cadence, then you can do that. So here's just an example of payment schedules in action. So I might have 50% due at booking and 30 days before the event, 14 days before the event, and we have essentially a scheduler that issues the payment reminders. So we can automate reminders, track payments. So this isn't something that we've built into the accelerator. I mean, the issuing of payment reminders is. but you can integrate with the likes of Stripe or Xero. There are options to do that, so that payment generation or invoicing comes straight from Salesforce. And then, of course, you would be able to monitor whether those payments have been successful or not. Then quote generation, there is an awful lot of flexibility here, but essentially we can design it pretty much however you like, as long as it is a PDF. There are options if you want to create Word documents. You can use document generation for that, and e-sign as out of the box, if you like. What we've done is create this. It gives you an example of the sorts of things that we can do. So you've got your products and services there, and then you've got your payment schedule here. So when we come to finalize the booking, what we're saying is that the opportunity is ready to move to become an event. And so I'm going to come here. And that's the event with all of the detail copied across. There's my room booking, which is now going to be on the calendar. Next up, event execution. So there's, as I say, we haven't configured an awful lot in the accelerator for this because it tends to differ, but we've certainly got the event basics, got products and services, payment tracking, the event timeline, so the timeline of what happens at the event, vendors, so you can associate vendors with their responsibilities to an event, and you can generate notes and documents and PDF event sheets in exactly the same way as we do for the quotes. You've also got Salesforce Mobile, which can be configured. The use case for the Salesforce Mobile tends to be sales out of the box, just to bear that in mind, but we can configure it into essentially a device that you can use to see who's responsible for what and kind of keep track of stuff on the day, or just rely on those event sheets. And you've got event as timeline and vendor management, as I mentioned, so you've got the ability to sort of break that down. We manage vendors as accounts, so there'll be types of account, vendor accounts, and those can either be vendors that the client wants to associate with an event or your own. In terms of kind of where you take this in future, there are lots of options. As I say, you can integrate with accounts and payments packages. You can bring in other sort of channels of communication, SMS and WhatsApp, to help communicate with clients. Yeah, there's pretty much nothing you can't integrate with. This does require Enterprise Edition of Salesforce, but with Enterprise Edition, you've got full API access. You can connect to anything. You can do things like create customer portals and branded forms and that kind of thing. So there's lots and lots of capability here. In terms of investment and timeline, yes, there is an investment here. It's turning something that might be a 6-month project and something that could cost tens of thousands of pounds into something that still gives you a proper business transformation, but can be delivered in weeks rather than months to kind of get the core system up and running. But the reality is the accelerator is scaffolding, it's foundation. Every events business shares certain problems like double bookings and disconnected systems, and this helps to solve those. But your business is going to be unique. You'll have your own workflows and your own way of doing things. So what we're looking to do is build long-term partnerships with clients to sort of leverage this foundation, and we'll continue to refine it for you, extend it, and take it to whether it's right for your business. So the ideal end state, and this is where the real value is that Salesforce runs your business. Everything runs on Salesforce, one system, complete 360-degree view of every customer, everything from initial inquiry through sales, operations, finance, all in one place. So no more context switching, and that's really valuable. So if you've made it this far, you're probably sort of seeing how far this could work for your venue. The next step It's simple. Just fill out the contact form below. Tell us about your business, tell us about your challenges, what you're hoping to achieve, and we'll be in touch to discuss whether this is right for you and how we help you get to where you need to.